first and foremost, all praises, glory, honor goes to Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai. Ba'ashem Makakwadash, double honors to the elder apostles, our great millstone that taught us this truth. Salutation, all Yakim, pushing this word day in and day out, doing this quick lesson, man. Which I didn't watch that shit, but the Super Bowl halftime show, it had a lot of, what can you say? A lot of rituals. You know, a lot of imagery, a lot of predictive programming. All right. So I'm gonna play a couple videos, but the second video is gonna be the one I really hammer into.
Means the NFL can script the outcome, and you can't do anything about it. In 2017, a lawsuit accused the NFL of rigging games. Fans claimed the league manipulated outcomes for ratings and profit. The NFL's defense? They're not legally required to provide a fair game. Their lawyers argued that the NFL is sports entertainment, like WWE. Fans buy tickets for the experience, not a guaranteed legitimate competition. And the court agreed. The case was dismissed. The NFL admitted in legal documents that they have no obligation to ensure games are fair or unscripted. Every suspicious call, every convenient penalty in the final 2 minutes, every underdog story that feels too perfect. The NFL has legal protection to script it all. They make $14 billion a year, and they've legally confirmed they don't owe you a real game.
Off the backs of you fucking niggas, man. You Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans, man. 14, I mean, that's on paper. You know, imagine off paper, you know, it's probably more like 50 billion a year, all right? Because you gotta count merchandise, sold, concessions, and all that bullshit. So this is the real video.
Super Bowl is a ritualistic, synchronized, energetic ceremony that is layered with subconscious programming. Now, let me explain it to you. Now, one of the main reasons why they chose Bad Bunny to perform at the Super Bowl is because his track listing for the Super Bowl is acclimated to the timeline. Now, he has a song called El Apagón, which is translated in English, which means blackout. Now, the blackout in itself, when you look at the color spectrum of the Super Bowl symbol, it's a representation of the emergency broadcasting system. And then remember, I was telling you guys about the 85 seconds to midnight because 85 in ancient gematria translates to blackout. Another song that Bad Bunny is going to be performing at the Super Bowl is called Perro Negro because Perro Negro in translations means black dog. And the black dog in ancient medieval folklore means the black shut dog, who is also the personification of the harbinger of destruction, which is basically in alignment with an omen. Now, this is also equated to ancient Kemetic spirituality when you're talking about Anubis, who was also known as the god of judgment. So they're basically telling you something's about to happen. Now, when you get into Mesoamerican cosmology, the rabbit is in alignment with the lunar cycle, which is a representation of cycles, emotions, and the activation of the subconscious mind. That is another reason why they chose Bad Bunny, because they also chose San Francisco because San Francisco is a gateway city. A gateway city that unlocks the subconscious mind, because this is why it's in alignment with the symbolism of the Golden Gate, because the Golden Gate in itself is a representation of the unlocking of the galactic center. What people don't understand about...
Yeah, so, you know, I saw a little bit of the bowl. I wasn't really all into it and shit. And plus, it was Shabbat, so, you know, I was more so watching videos, you know, getting edified and shit. And, one thing I noticed, you know, what they had on the field, they had a pyramid on the field and on the X of the Super Bowl 60, because of course it's in Roman numerals and shit. So, you know, at the bottom of the X, they had a pyramid on the field, right? Just like you see in this image. And I believe that pyramid was black. I gotta go back and look. But, you know, it looks like there is going to be a blackout because, you know, it's been a cold, brutally cold winter, which the weather's just starting now to ease up after like a month, 3 weeks to a month. And, you know, my electric bill, you know, it's like fucking $1,000 damn near, man. All right. So only y'all about Shimmy Shot knows how I would pay that shit. But there will be blackouts, and I believe something big's going to happen, you know, around the time of the Pesach, which we're in that time now. But as closer we get to the Pesach, man, something big's about to happen, all right? And I'll do a separate lesson on it. So, you know, that's all the Super Bowl is energy harvesting. You know, it's the biggest sports event of the year in Babylon in America. Okay. And, you know, they chose Bad Bunny and one of his songs was The Blackout, man. So, you know, they plan on blacking this shit out. Because really, you know, ultimately Esau wants all his energy grid going towards what AI and the military, man. Like, you people are useless eaters, useless power consumers, and all that shit, man. You know, you know, you use your electricity just to stream, watch folly, dumb shit on the internet, watch your fucking Tubi movies. You know, their nigga movies on Tubi or low budget productions and shit. You know, your stripper, drug dealer movies, which I'm not into that. I'm glad the Lord took that spirit off of me. I used to have that spirit on me. Like, you know, when I was younger, probably in my late 20s. You know, I used to be watching these little hood movies and shit. It was nothing wrong with a brother like watching it, but me, like, I can't watch that shit. You know, I be seeing my demon watch that, like, some of that shit. I'm like, hell nah, I don't want to watch these niggas. So, yeah, they call it the Golden Gate Bridge, right? So, you know, it is a gateway city, man, San Francisco. That's where all your tech hubs are, man. All right. So, Lord willing, this was the last Super Bowl. You know what I'm saying? Which it could be, because Trump said last holiday season was the last Christmas, as we know it, basically. Roughly paraphrasing. I don't remember how he worded it, but he said it'll be the last so-called holiday season, the last Christmas, man. Because really, I'm fed up with this shit, man. You know, in come to this society, my motivation is low, man. All right. But when it comes to the truth, my motivation is high. So let me get some precepts. Ezekiel 7:15, the sword is without, and the pestilence and the famine within. He that is in the field shall die with the sword. So if you're in the country, you know, people's going to run up. You're going to have a lot of people from the cities, believe it or not, run into the country because the city's just going to be a bloodbath, right? Scripture says the city shall be wasted, and, you know, that's going to be the worst place to be if the Lord ain't with you, is in the cities. But for us, it's going to be the funnest place to be, is the cities, because we're going to have spiritual power to get busy. You know, that's why Trump said the National Guard and these different federal enforcement agents, which they said that, you know, they're going to be on duty or active until the end of the year, which really is longer than that, until this place is destroyed, man. All right. Because, you know, that's the new thing, martial law. All right. And he that is in the city, famine and pestilence shall devour him. Yeah, there's going to be a major pestilence, major outbreak real soon. It could be as early as March, man. March, April. You know, you got the measles ramping up. You got, goddamn security. You know, the security of the society, of the medical field, you know, it's people aren't trusting it, man. You know, the sown place is becoming unsown, all right? Because really, famine and pestilence is hand in hand, man, all right? Because let's say that, you know, once the blackout does hit, your refrigerator, man, everything goes bad, man, within a few hours. You know what I'm saying? Everything, your milks, your cheeses, your, you know, your breads, right? Because certain breads can't stay room temperature. I'm not a bread expert. I don't really eat bread like that, you know. Even though, you know, it's good to have bread in your system sometimes, but I'm not really a bread person. Yeah, certain breads go bad, you know. Even certain, you know, like diabetic medicine. I remember my dad was alive. That shit had to been refrigerated, man. You know what I'm saying? That shit had to been kept cool, bro. And he that is in the field shall die with the sword, and he that is in the city, famine and pestilence shall devour him, man. So, like, famines and pestilence, man, real soon, man. Which is, there's nothing left for this place but destruction, man. You know, it's no jobs, there's no, you know, hey, you know, I have a Future doing this, Future doing it. Nah, only thing left is for fucking peril, man. Mourning, weeping. Verse 16, but they that escape of them shall escape and shall be on the mountains like doves on the valley. All of them mourning, everyone for his iniquity, man. All right, so and we in the times of great mourning, great turmoil, you know, losing everything, man. You know, people gonna be, because, you know, all hell could break loose while, you know, in the men of the Lord and their families and their loved ones, you know, they could be at work and all hell break loose. So guess what? You ain't gonna be able to 9 times out of 10 make it home and get to your safe house, your surroundings, your goods, your possessions. You ain't gonna be able to get to it, man. So, excuse me. So, you know, that's something you just gonna have to walk away from, man. But what we gonna get in the kingdom is gonna put all that to shame. That's not even gonna be 1%, or 0.1%, or a 0.011 point. You know, you get my drift of what the Lord's about to give us, man. All right, so, you know, it's all vanity, like King Solomon said, man. And they shall also gird themselves with sackcloth and horror. Horror, man. It's about to be a real horror flick out here. Shall cover them, you know. And shame shall be upon all faces, and baldness upon all their heads. Yeah, baldness and shame. Sackcloth represents mourning, right? Same thing with baldness. Same thing with baldness, that represents mourning too, you know. Because even, you know, when we get our little concubines, our Edomite concubines, man, we about to shave their hair bald, man. Of course, their hair is going to grow back, but we gotta shave all their shit bald, man, because, you know, they're going to be in mourning, man. But, you know, even the scriptures say, and Job says that, you know, they're not even going to mourn Esau going down, man. Really, the Edomite woman's tired of Esau, man, right? She's just using them for, you know, resources and shit, their pension or some shit. This nigga got like 30 properties, you know, things of that nature, man. She ain't gotta work, or at least work is hard, man. You know, Esau does have benefits because it's still his setup. Esau bad because he's got to spend more money, you know. Amos 5:18, woe to you that desire the day of the Lord. To what end is it for you? So, hey, really, this scripture, man, is talking about, you know, you equate them questions. It's really talking about them niggified Israelites, man, right? Like, you know, these different camps, the ones that getting ready to take the mark and so forth, you know. The day of the Lord is darkness and not light. So it's about to be great darkness, man. Evil times. And then even literal darkness as well, too. You know. Because you're going to have blackouts and widespread panics. And, you know, imagine someone on dialysis or elderly person is a blackout. They're going to be fucked up. Can't take a shower. The water's too cold, or the water might just stop running. More than likely, the water will just stop running. Because the water system does operate off of electricity, you know. As if a man did flee from a lion and a bear met him, or went into the house and leaned his hand on the wall and the serpent bit him. So it don't matter, you escape one judgment, another one's going to be waiting for you. And you escape that judgment, the second one, the third one. If you escape the third one, the fourth one's going to be and so forth, until the Lord finally decides it's your time, man. You're going to reach your fate. So not the day of the Lord be darkness and not light. So yeah, man. Because here it is the light is going out. The word is gone out to the four corners of the earth. And 2/3, you know, they shunned it, man. They want to be the next top streamer, you know. I was watching the Diamond Gym, and you got all these top streamers. It's mainly streamers going there, man, to get content, man. And get a badge of honor to get them a lot of views, a lot of likes. Because you go there, you survive that workout, you know. the world loves it, man. Because the world loves their own, man. All right. But them days about to be long gone. You ain't gonna remember who these YN streamers are, these NLE choppers, these Ty Lils and all that. You ain't gonna remember who them niggas are, man. Real soon. It's gonna be regular niggas. Yeah, they got money on this side. They got the woman. They got the possessions. But, you know, it's just getting ready to go out the window. And not light. Even very dark and no brightness in it. So, the day of the Lord, man, is darkness, man. Evil, man. Evil times, man. Bad times. Grim times. You see the economic outlook, which I always say I'm gonna do a video on it, but the spirit just ain't jump on me yet. I know it's coming soon about the U.S. debt clock. They say it's supposed to reach 40 trillion in 2027, but I believe it could hit 40 trillion, you know, on paper, on record by this summer, man. You know. I will not smell in your solemn assembly. So your feast days, your New Year's, Christmas, we just made it past that season, and that was the most bleak holiday season I ever seen. Like, you know, yeah, it was people with certain lights out and shit like that, but it was few and far in between. People can't afford the light bill to be having fucking holiday lights on 24/7, man, unless they got some type of solar panel, you know. Though ye offer me burnt offerings and your meat offerings, I will not accept them. Neither will I regard the peace offerings of your fat beasts. Yeah, because your fat beasts are mainly what? Pork, man. You know, you niggas cook a hell of a ham for, you know, Thanksgiving, Christmas, New Year's. You know, I'm glad that season over with. We getting ready to come into the springtime, the real New Year's, the Passat. Yeah, because you niggas love pagan New Year's in January and the dead of winter. You know, now we're approaching March. Like, next thing you know, we wake up, it'll be March. You know, we already halfway through fucking February, right? So, you know, you just deal with what the Lord gives you. You know, Lord, and speeding up the days. You know, next thing you know, we be in full-fledged summer. You know. But I believe this spring and summer is going to be like no other, right? Because I was telling the Hakim, you know, it was too cold about a week or two ago. It was too cold for people to do anything, you know, fight back ice and, you know, because it looks like what they about to do is, because, you know, the National Guard are like the good guys, you know, right now, and then the ICE sort of, so it looks like they about to have some type of civil war between National Guard and ICE and, you know, these different police agencies and shit. And Lord willing, it goes out of control. You know, because we got to get the fuck up out of here, man. Like what's left, man? You raising your little bastard children in this place, man. You know? Like, what's left for this place, man? You want to be a grandpa here, man? You know, you want to see your children have children here, man? So, you know, what they say, 1 million job losses each month, which is probably more than that, man. It's probably like 10 million. That's why you go to any gym, like in the like the morning hours, the so-called work hours, like between, you know, 9 to like, especially like 9 to like noon, that should be packed. You know what I'm saying? I remember it was a time people used to bring their laptop with them to the gym because they'll be working, you know, remotely. Oh, you don't see that shit no more. I remember seeing that shit like 2021, 2022, 2020, you know, 2020. You don't see that shit no more because there ain't no job. People ain't working like they used to, man. They gotta take odd jobs, amp jobs, shit like that. For I will not hear the melody of thy vows. So the Lord ain't hearing your music, your sweet Jesus. You know, which that's not his name anyway. Right. But yeah, that's another feast day too, the Super Bowl. But I remember I was talking to this lady. It was like the day before the bowl. You know, she was a nice looking lady. I believe she was like a Reubenite. She had the little pretty hair and everything, the little skin tone. She probably thinks she a nigga woman, but I believe that was a Reubenite. You know, I ain't see the ring on her finger, so I was like, yeah, you know, I was flirting with her because she said some shit to me. And then she's like, oh yeah, I got this ring. I was like, oh shit, I ain't even people. You know, these women, they good at the sleight of hand. Like they'll hide the ring until it's time to reveal it. So, I was like, okay, nice meeting you, whatever. Let her go about her way and shit. But then I think I mentioned to her, yeah, yeah, you cooking during the Super Bowl. I'm pulling up, you look like you could throw down a little something. Just making small talk with her. And she like, oh no, this food's too expensive. I was like, okay, you gotta bring your own plate then, huh? Bring your BYOP. She like, yeah, that's exactly what you gotta do. See, I ain't buying no extra food, extra meat, hell not. She's an older lady, probably like in her 50s. Not too old, but like, still in the poppable age, where they still, because, you still got Eves and, certain Northern tribe women, probably more so Eve, in their 50s, they still look like they could get popped, right? So, I was just flirting with her and shit till I saw that ring. Because, she came to me first, so, I make a bitch feel good about herself. I reward her, bitch. And then, yeah, man, so it looks like, hey, this place is over and done with. Because imagine food prices go up even more from here. Imagine gas goes up. Or when, not if, but when. Because it's going to be a season of hyperinflation, which we're already in the early stages of it. So imagine when gas, hits $6, $7. Imagine when fucking food doubles from what it is right now. All hell will break loose, man. These people struggling now, so imagine shit going up even more, man. Imagine the Lord turning up the heat even more, man. Imagine when, not if. Because this society always, teaches us, Salaki, this society always teaches us the hypothetical. Oh, if, that's one thing this devil fucking taught us in the fucking demonic school systems, public schools, college, wherever you learn from. So imagine when, man, because this is all prophesied. We got to keep saying when, not if, but when. So sometimes you got to rebuke yourself, correct yourself, man. It says the shame shall be upon all faces, man. All right, so scripture says great morning, man. Let me get drink wine with song. I'll probably end off with there. Because that's what happens, in the Super Bowl. People drinking yayan, they drinking their liquor, shakar. They getting drunk, they getting high, watching the game. But we coming into a time where all that's about to be thrown out, man. This is Isaiah 24:7, the new wine mornings, divine language with all the merry-hearted do side. Yeah, because in society, people merry-hearted. They always laughing, joking around. What they call it, trolling. Gen Z always call it trolling. The mirth of Tabret ceaseth, the noise of them that rejoice endeth. The joy of the harp ceases. So it's the joy of playing the harp, playing your instruments. It's going out the window, man, The little trumpets, the the little marching bands and shit, parades. Ain't gonna be no parades real soon, man. They trying to celebrate America 250, but it look like 250. It's going to be under martial law, man. It's just going to be military only celebrating that shit. You should not drink as wine with song, and strong drink shall be bitter to them that drink it. The city of confusion is broken down. Every house is shut up that no man may come in. There's a crying for wine in the streets. All joy is darkened. The mirth of the land. So you're literally going to have blackouts and that, because this place, people go crazy during a blackout, like especially extended blackout. Looking like the Lord's about to have mercy. He's about to have a blackout when it's spring/summertime, fall or whatever, right? When the temperatures are up, not now during the frigid frostbite, But even then, like yesterday was like a glimpse. I think it got up to like 45, 50 degrees yesterday. So it was like a glimpse of early spring. Like we haven't had like a 50-degree day, you know, since like goddamn, what month we in February now. So we probably ain't had a 50-degree day since like late November, early December. You know what I'm saying? So it's been a couple months since, you know, we had a break from the frost, you know, and the ice and shit. You know, the snow finally melting, you know, animals coming back outside. So, you know, the spirit is getting ready to change. You're about to enter in on a whole new year, man, during the Pesach, man. So I'm going to end it there till next time.